MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by Freedom.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today is today's.
Abba, he, mama. Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. And once again, as you can see by me and the Italian here on the couch, we are in the -1 episodes where my brother is at home contemplating suicide in a dark room while we sit here and blab on about topics having to do with film or anything that we want to, because it means the internet, no one's watching, so why not? And on that note, Matteo, my friend, today is an episode I'm very excited to talk about. Now, last week, me and the Italian went out to see a brand new movie. And if I may speak for the both of us, it worked pretty gosh darn well.
Yes.
People have a right to know the truth.
We have a mutual experience, which we're going to get into. And then we come back to the real world and we find out that son of a bee.
What the hell? Okay.
It's motion operated?
Apparently.
We come back to the real world and we find out that, at least from what I've been hearing, most people are at best, and at worst apparently really hating this. So we're going to get into all of it. The movie is the old master himself, Steven Spielberg, is back with Disclosure Day.
What is it?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I'm going to show you.
Now, Matteo, when I was conceiving of this episode excitedly, for a title I had in mind, simply, Disclosure Day Made Us Cry. And we'll go from an umbrella there. So I guess I'll just start with how we felt before we get into this interesting effect, which is honestly, fair warning, this is why Matthew isn't here, it might get a little philosophical.
Yes.
We might get a little philosophical.
And
because, go ahead.
Spoilers.
And spoilers, yes. So tons of spoilers. We're getting into all of it. If you happen to be watching this, you haven't seen it, shut it off, because we're going to talk about everything. So, as a prefix, which I'm going to come back to later, because I love talking about conditions, environments, situations leading up to a movie, I may not have seen this, not out of any, like, screw that movie or I don't care anything. I don't know, it's a packed summer season. I have 2 jobs. I might not have seen it. We shoot this on Thursdays. We finished our episodes a little early. I know this guy here loves Spielberg, loves him. And I was like, hey, Matteo, you want to go see this? And we did. So I say all this to say, as we continue this discussion, I went to this movie with 0 expectations. I'd barely seen a trailer. We were both blissfully, mostly blind.
Yeah, you by happenstance, I intentionally.
Him intentionally.
Did not watch trailer. I saw the teaser.
People keep wondering.
That came out, I don't remember when, but I remember it came out a few months ago. And I say, all right, I'm sold. That's it. I intentionally avoided.
Yeah, so I maybe saw a trailer once, barely remember it. Went in blind, but again, no expectations. And I say this to say, I remember I went and saw The Flash a couple years back with the dude that got in a bunch of trouble. What's his face? Ezra
Elba. No, Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller.
Idra Elba.
Went into that with 0 expectations, no anticipation, wasn't counting down to it. Just one Saturday morning said, I'm going to go out and see a new movie. Had the time of my life with The Flash, and then once again found out that most people were like, this is a steaming pile of dog shit. So I say all this to say we're going to get back into talking about expectations going in, to be fair. But, so, it's last Thursday, we go in. Matteo, I think both of us, it worked like a mother, right? I'm blah, blah, blah. Tell me a little about you just quick. We see this together. You loved it.
Yes, it starts. It drops you in the middle of the whole event. It doesn't
Very quickly, just
yes, it doesn't really take you by hand and say just like, there you go. And from then on, I was hooked, and I genuinely enjoy every single aspect of it. Emily Blunt is absolutely fantastic.
I think most people, that's the most unifying.
Yes.
Like, she's incredible in this.
She is.
She really brings what the role asks of her.
Yeah.
But the main thing I want to zero in on, and yes, also interesting that didn't balk at anything, didn't really have a problem with anything.
No.
This was one of those beautiful experiences where the term we were with the movie.
Yes.
And the most important part of this is that I feel like incredibly both of us had this emotional crescendo towards the end that was just intensifying. I liken it, Matteo has never indulged, but I kind of liken it to the intense effects of a mushroom trip. You're kind of thinking about life, you're feeling emotional, something almost extraterrestrial. You know, Terrence McKenna has talked about alien communication in mushrooms. That's a whole other topic, but something extraterrestrial almost lifting you up. We both teared up, I think, pretty excessively. And the whole thing just worked as this third act rising of the disclosure day.
People have a right to know the truth.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world, all at once.
Now, there's a moment when I believe Coleman Domingo is talking to Colin Firth, and they're pro push the disclosure day and completely anti don't let the public know. And Coleman is saying something along the lines of how the aliens' greatest evolutionary aspect is empathy.
Yeah.
How will disclosure change us? I believe for the better. It will remind us of our capacity for empathy, and that there is something bigger out there than just ourselves.
And how, imagine, we're denying the people access to that, and if we pull away from empathy, it's going to destroy us. And now this is the key for me why I really wanted to do this, even though we're going to discuss it as we would a movie. Something within me got really excited because I was already with the story, and I was like, oh, they're going to talk about the biggest superpower being empathy, which is kind of an angle that James Gunn took for Superman last summer, which absolutely delighted me there.
I get scared. I wake up every morning, and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other, and I try to make the best choices I can.
So, fair warned, me, and I think I speak for my buddy here, we are very, very mush-hearted, soft dudes I am massively idealistic, and I am incredibly susceptible to these type of ideas. If you talk about the kumbaya shit, you are going to have me in a heartbeat. I'm talking like soft-hearted, mushy hippie. I don't care if it's unrealistic. So I got genuinely excited. I was like, oh, is this where we're going with this? When he starts bringing up empathy, because also we've seen Emily Blunt been able to, no matter who, because she's possessed by aliens, no matter who she is, she's instantly able to tap right into a person's, like, let me see what's bothering you at the core. And then I went, they're going to think it's corny. They're going to think it's corny after I got excited. And then at the end, she's kind of like dispelling everyone that comes up to try to stop her by just like having this like, I can tell you exactly what is disturbing you, what the emotion is. And it's kind of this feeling of like, no, let this breakthrough happen, which I guess to my idiot ass kind of parallels like the 60s wave of please let these psychedelic drugs bring on a message of overwhelming love that could possibly save us, which again can sound kind of ridiculous, but I think that's why this all ties into me, is that to me, this is a very philosophically humanistic movie which makes a plea for unity and seeing a sense of something bigger and community at a time when it feels like we have been for so long viciously divided.
Yeah.
And the two of us picked up on that like red meat. And I do want to talk about the movie, but what I really want to talk about is it seemed like, and we were watching one of my favorite reviewers, Dan Murrell, and he used the word...
That is corny.
Corny. And so it was almost like I was waiting for a bomb to drop, and he used the exact word, and he just goes, I know that this message of we have more in common than we have different, and let's bring people together is a little corny. He says it just matter-of-factly, and I went, oh my God, I was in the theater, and I said, they're going to think it's corny. And so that's why I was so intrigued to dive into this, not just to discuss the movie, because it is interesting that Spielberg's back. That's a topic unto itself with the modern landscape, especially in a summer where two Gen Z directors are just stomping all over the grossest and insane way. Objectively crazy time for these movies with Backrooms and Obsession. But once I heard that there was kind of a lot of to the movie, and then it so heavily is kind of centered around that message, I was like, well, this is an interesting moment, because you may remember me saying about The Room. When you go to see Tommy Wiseau's The Room, especially live, there's beats that always happen, and there's one line that they always mock clap at. And Tommy says,
if a lot of people love each other, the world would be a better place to live.
Now look, I would have to strip away the title of calling myself a comedian if I honestly did not understand why you laughed there, okay? Yes. I get it. I'm not that psychotic, but I always thought, isn't it interesting saying, you know, if the world would just love each other, it could be a better place. You have to laugh because you can't just say it. This god-awful world means you have to layer in the fact that, yes, so that sounds childish and overly simplified, but you can't just say it, or they laugh. They laugh at that line every time. They mock applause.
They didn't laugh at the commercial of Coca-Cola.
I like to teach the world to sing. Sing with me. Perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. I like to ride the world coke and keep it company. That's the real thing.
Cut to Tom Green and Bloody Animal.
Yeah.
I like to teach the world to sing. In perfect harmony.
It's deer. It's a deer tie.
It's a deer.
Freddy Got Fingered was a prequel to Disclosure Day.
Daniel Kellner,
Who is this?
do not go back to the house. They found you. I don't know who you are, but they're gonna kill you.
So that's what I thought was so interesting, Matteo, and I know me and you have a similar soft heart, and so you see where I'm going with this? It's almost like it becomes an interesting critique. Like, yes, Spielberg is back, but then the apparently kind of negative backlash, I'm like, are we responding to the idea of, golly gee, we do have stuff in common, why don't we hug each other? And then it's like, no, what is that? This is cornball shit. So just tell me a little bit about what you think, my beautiful hearted friend, about everything I just said. I know you're a similar soft heart like I am.
I think that this is a classic science fiction with UFOs, like they were making in the 30s and the 40s, well, maybe not the 30s, but in the 40s and 50s and the 60s. But even up to movies like The Arrival with Charlie Sheen, they always have kind of like, I don't want to say a preachy ending, but all the stuff, The Thing ends with,
every one of you listening to my voice, tell the world, tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the skies. Everywhere.
Your choice is simple. Join us and live in peace, or pursue your present course and face obliteration.
Will they come back again?
Not on such a nice day.
And not to such a nice world.
Then you tell them. You go back and tell them that I know, that she knows, that others will know.
But you're almost saying like it was kind of par for the course to comment on humanity in a positive way through science fiction.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you have kind of like a benevolent, happy ending. Now, the fact that the times, the real times we're living are so bleak, they kind of like harden us. We don't respond well to messages of hope and of something that is, hey, there might be something bigger at work here, not only that. And that was the job of science fiction in the 50s. It was to elevate, they would say, hey, yes, there is a war going, but because the vast majority of those movies were metaphor for the war and stuff. And this is kind of like the same. It's just like, oh, they want to keep secret something that it could actually benefit us.
This 79-year cover-up of the truth has to end.
It could actually give us hope, propels us in towards the future and propel us all together. The fact that everybody was looking at the phone, and yes, somebody will think, but it was kind of like a moment of communion.
No. Thank you. There are so many moments on this show where he reminds me of something I completely spaced from that I wanted to discuss. That's probably the only time, well said, that you see a shot, because I'm going to show you Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, and that's where you see shots of people like this in a bad connotation, in the zombie way. But this is probably the only time you can show a montage of everyone on Earth looking at their phone. And in that moment, it actually, like you said, becomes a moment of community, that every human being has this device and everyone is tapped in simultaneously. And I felt that watching it. I completely forgot about the aspect. That'll never be done before, where you're like, oh, look at them all on their phones. So yes, it's also fascinating that a lot of people seem dissatisfied with the ending, where again, it seemed to appropriately crescendo for us.
Yeah.
Are they people?
It's a fascinating concept, like I said, because it ties so much into what I said about that line in the room. And again, yes, I understand how that line comes across, and Tommy Wiseau was saying it, but just philosophically, it's interesting, like, why don't we just love each other? Yeah. This idiot, this cornball, this moron.
It's the same thing of all those MaJaMa make about Canada. They say, oh,
if we were just nice.
Yeah, and I say, what is wrong with that? I genuinely don't understand why do we have to mock gentleness and kindness and looking out for each other as if it's a weakness.
This 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end.
And this movie is basically the same. Is that to a degree, it says, you know, they are hiding you things that may be good for you, and God only knows why they're hiding them. Probably because they know that they are good for you, and you wouldn't need them anymore.
Reminds me of the Bill Hicks joke. Like, hey, did you ever think about the fact that drugs that do absolutely nothing for you, like alcohol and cigarettes, are completely legal, and drugs that make you wake up and realize you're being every day of your life, are those the legal ones? Coincidence? Huh, I wonder. Similar concept.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of similar concepts, tell me if did you read the Watchmen comic?
Yes.
Because the movie...
A long time ago, but yes.
The movie left it out, which I get why, but in the comic, the idea is that I believe Ozymandias has a giant space squid come down to get an enemy that brings the entire world at war together, because there's a bigger enemy from the skies. This is kind of the reverse, that the aliens are supposed to be a benevolent force, but it reminded me of that idea of what if we could stop the petty squabbling among the ants by just having them simply look upward.
And the funny thing is that if you think about it, probably one of the most famous speeches on film is the
Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
Is the exact same thing. It's just let's put away all the petty differences and stuff like that, and actually work together.
Well, you know, it makes me think of a far more, perhaps the most overt example is the speech Chaplin gives at the end of The Great Dictator.
Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed.
Do you know, how was that received when it was dropped? Were they like, oh, Charlie, just hitting us over the head with things?
No, it was the right time.
It was the right time? Because here's the thing. We all know how I feel about religion, but if I had to say I understand what I would assume to be the sense of comforting truth that people get from it, anytime you do something like the Chaplin speech, like Coleman saying empathy is a superpower, like James Gunn having Superman say literally empathy is the biggest superpower, when you say that stuff to me, the message I receive through mushrooms, no matter what you may think of them, when you say this stuff to me, it resonates and I go, oh my God, that's how it works. Now, contrary to popular belief, I'm not dumb enough to not understand the roadblocks of dragging these concepts into the reality of our species. I do get it, I promise. But is it not the answer? Is the answer not empathy? What is it? Is it literally called the empathy test, where some scientist came up with it? You're supposed to stare into another human being's eyes for a minute straight, and you kind of start to cry. You just notice it just feels something when you look into a person's eyes. So it's funny because we're full philosophical, which is fine. But I kind of wanted to I don't know if the movie itself, the mechanics tie into it as well, but Spielberg's trying to bring something very
it's
old school, and I don't know, it just feels like everyone's like, get away with that, old man. Why aren't aliens blowing stuff up and running around?
Yeah, that's what probably the vast majority of people was expecting. And
to be fair, I think it was a difficult movie to market. I think it was probably a difficult movie to make a trailer of, because how do you really...
Yes. And that's why I didn't watch anything, because I didn't want to have images ingrained in my brain saying, oh, now it's going to happen this or that.
The only way to know your purpose is to go back to where it all began.
I know
you. But I enjoy the fact that it was, first of all, a different movie than whatever you would expect. And it was a powerful movie, because it gives you, it puts you virtually side by side, if not in the shoes, of a woman who is, at first doesn't almost even notices it, that she has this power that is awakening, and then she gets scared, and then she learns how to kind of like control it.
Crazy example, but almost not, because I'm thinking of, she gets pulled over and she says something very rapid fire and truthful. That's the first example of the almost like an empathy gun. Go with it. Similar, because it was talked about in the Dan review we watched of comedic twinge, similar to Jim Carrey in Liar Liar.
So I sped. I followed too closely. I ran a stop sign. I almost hit a Chevy. I sped some more. I failed to yield at a crosswalk. I changed lanes in the intersection. I changed lanes without signaling while running a red light and speeding.
I can't help but just spew pure truth, and that interacting in this world is kind of zany. Very interesting. Also, we said this, but it should be reiterated. Emily Blunt, this is a demanding role, and to take on a normal weather woman that suddenly realized she's possessed by this ability to deliver this message and can, like you said, she's speaking Russian, she's an expert, she knows the innermost core of everyone. She does absolutely amazing. You can see everything in her eyes. You can see all the possession, the confusion.
She is a tour de force, and
let's take a look at today. Let's. Today is today's.
Really the glue of the movie.
Yes.
And just, I do think Josh O'Connor did well, but to be fair, he kind of almost, I don't say this as a diss, he almost disappeared. Like, Emily is everything to this movie. She kind of is the entire focus point.
He is great, but his role is less, I mean, we are following, of course, if you're following both of them having the same reactions, it would have been repetitious or something. So we've concentrated on her. But she, my God, she is absolutely fantastic.
A lot of people were saying best ever for her career.
Yes. Because she has this, and the thing...
Someone told me she did the clicks. Someone told me that was her.
And also she said that she had the idea of doing the oneer from when she gets in to when she gets and doing the first time.
That's my flaw, but it helps with the movies, is you literally talked about during this, your Matteo movie blooper blade turn on, you're like, shut it off. I went with it, so I forgot. And my buddy told me, I didn't even realize it was a oneer. So yes, that was another thing. I didn't even take it in that was happening.
For me, a oneer is because it allows the audience to contribute to the experience they're having by selecting who to watch.
I think a oneer is exciting, especially when she's whirlwinding out of control, because I was aware that technically I had to kind of dance with the camera and make sure that I was hitting moments. So it's about feeling each other out. But it does allow me to go on a ride with that whole scene to the point where I do have heart palpitations by the time I'm up there trying to deliver the weather. So it's a very transporting experience for me shooting like that. But I think we had the luxury of time to choreograph it.
We did. We had a lot of time for it.
And then I stopped thinking about the camera.
We spent an entire morning choreographing it.
Yeah, it was thrilling.
If you found out we weren't alone.
I have really no notes, even when people say, oh, the animals in their CG.
Yes, that did nothing. It didn't pull me out at all. They talked about the traditional alien in the wheelchair being laughable. Like, so this is
nothing.
This is a rare example, and this is why going back, I don't know if it's the Flash effect. Hey, people have been waiting for a Flash movie. It's their favorite character their whole lives. They know the comic book lore. They've been following it. Dumb Jason just like, oh, new superhero walks in, has the time of his life. perhaps I went in with, I wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't for him. Again, not out of hate or dismissal, but I don't know if that adds to the fact, but suffice to say, this is a rare case where I almost want to see it again.
Yeah.
I've told you how seeing Alien Romulus, we sat up close in IMAX, it was shot for it, and I was inside that movie to the point where I literally do not want to watch it at home, because even if it's still a great fun ride, it's not going to be that. Now I'm curious what Watch 2 would be like with this, because I tell you, we had no notes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it just hit, it was the right moment, we were in the mood to see a movie, we wanted to see the Spielbergian stuff, but we were just with it, and we walked out teary-eyed, it crescendoed. Some people said they didn't like it cut as soon as she said listen. I think that's redundant. We didn't need to hear the message. We already got the emotional heft. So you know what? I could blah, blah, blah forever. I'm actually going to cap it here because I feel like the main crux... Guys, I'm always begging for comments because of the algorithm. It's true. Our algorithm is shit. But I would love to hear, if you're watching this, what did you think? Was it corny to you? Are we just a bunch of old saps here that it connected with? Is Spielberg out of touch? Did you love the movie? I thought the train, right, on a more base level of movie making was thrilling. I felt like I hadn't seen...
Excellent quote of Spielberg about himself from... Duel.
This sequence is something I've done before in my career. I made up the scene in Duel where the truck gets behind the car and starts pushing the red car into a freight train. Now, it doesn't go as far as this scene, but I never forgot that. And I had always said, wouldn't it be cool if the truck had actually pushed the car into the train? So I thought, I'm going to do that in Disclosure Day. I'm going to take that scene to its full realization, something I was not able to do in 1971.
No. Which I need to see.
Yes.
Which I need to see. But guys, let us know. Are we off base here? Are we completely in the minority? Like I said, from what I hear, even the people that liked it are still kind of like, spotty here and there. We had a great friggin' time.
It's a great movie. Is excellently directed, excellently photographed, excellently scored.
Amazing cast.
John Williams came.
Oh yeah, Williams is back. Williams is back.
Can you believe that, John and I? This is our 30th movie together, and he's as exceptional at 94 as he was at 40.
A cast that to dream of. An original story, which is
sorely needed. We talked about it in our Mando episode, which had dropped 2 days before 2 original movies stomped all over the box office. Bad timing on that one.
And for once, we don't have to be controlled by cynicism. It's an optimistic movie.
It truly is.
It's uplifting, and there is nothing wrong with that. Actually, we need movies like that.
People want to use the C word, saying it's corny.
Yes.
Come on, people.
No, that's completely wrong because it's a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Hello, Jane. Please, have a seat.
Maybe we're just soft. Guys, let us know what you think. Thank you for sticking around. We're going to be back with these blah, blah, blah sessions. We love it. So if you love this movie nerd content, be kind. Drop us a like, a comment, subscribe, because we do keep it regular. Sometimes we have archival stuff, but there's new stuff every Thursday. Me and the Italian and Chumley right here, and Mort and this big head boy
Matthew
Tomas.
somewhere.
Matthew in spirit always. This has been MaJaMa.
MaJaMa.